Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.
Everyone was talking about the consensus pump. Well, we're in Singapore, it's consensus week, and there was a pump. So does that make it the Singapore consensus pump? This week here in Singapore, we're going to be asking some serious questions. Can the utility token survive this crypto winter? Can XRP keep the #2 spot? And is the SEC's delay bringing us one step closer to a Bitcoin ETF? It's Singapore Blockchain Week. Let's go. So we're at Consensus 2018 here in Singapore, and it's a very interesting conference. What they've done is, instead of running a standalone blockchain conference, they've combined it with a telephony conference and an AI conference. You've got all the big names like Huawei and Verizon mixed up with blockchain names like BitGo, Kinetic, Genesis, and many other blockchain funds. Let's go take a look. So you've got Circle over here, the big name in industrial custodian solutions. And if you look over here, you've got OKX, one of the biggest exchanges here in Asia. There seems to be a lot of action here around the Cool Wallet stand. These are the guys that gave away 5 wallets on CNBC Crypto Trader just a few weeks ago. And as we continue walking, you've got the representatives from My Ether Wallet right over here. And of course, Bitfury, the big miners, right here. Speaking of mining, let's rewind to before the conference and head a few kilometers away to the big office park area of Singapore. So we're in Singapore, it's the beginning of Singapore Blockchain Week, and we're here to meet one of the biggest miners and funds in Singapore. It's a company called X². Join me, let's go take a look.
Hey man,
how you doing?
Welcome to Singapore.
Thank you so much.
The Bridge at Accent. This is the up-and-coming blockchain co-working space in Singapore.
Is that a blockchain hub?
Yeah, there is Delica here. There is Unchained, their parent company. New Global Capital is here. Of course, X², we are based here now. And today we are supporting Long Hash community event.
So what's happening here today?
So this is a pitch event that's organized by Empower. Empower is a community builder for Long Hash. Come and have a look.
You see a different share for each one as a return on interest for each one.
Pretty legit. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
So, running a blockchain business here in Singapore, is it an easy thing to do?
I think it's more straightforward than many other countries that we've been to. I mean, compared to the regions of America, you know, Europe is just waking up into this thing. As a business hub, Singapore has always been a little bit more open. And, you know, ease of business here, I think we should be still #1 globally.
Yeah. Let's talk about Singapore, because Singapore got a bit of a head start when it came to blockchain. What were the factors that created the head start?
I think a few things. One, definitely legal. Singapore's legal framework, while being seen as pretty rigid, it is actually clear. So the central bank last year, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, actually had a guideline for ICOs in that sense. Singapore has always been a little bit more laissez-faire, but at the same time, we have clear guidelines that might not be laws in that sense.
So we're at Consensus here in Singapore. So over here you have the AI part. On this side you have the telephony part powered by 5G technology. And right in front of me you've got the blockchain part with all the big names in blockchain, including Grayscale, which is part of the digital currency group. So what brings you guys to Singapore?
So we've started to see a lot more interest from institutional investors in Asia, and have been spending about the last 2 weeks sort of touring around Asia meeting with investors.
Now, every time I speak to you, tell me that more funds are investing and more money is coming in. Is that still the case in this kind of market?
It is. You know, we've talked about this throughout this year. As prices have come down, we've started to see capital inflows actually increase.
We're going to go in and see if we can get hold of Jihan, the founder of Kinetic. Jihan, you've been traveling all around the world, going to conferences. We're here in Singapore in the middle of a bear market. What's the mood like?
The mood is actually quite optimistic. I'm finding that a lot of people are still quite interested in looking at projects, especially following great founders. I think that from a development and overall kind of traction standpoint, we're still seeing a lot of progress. We're still seeing a lot of companies building. And I think what's most encouraging is actually enterprise, governments, and even central banks are starting to take larger positions and take more aggressive kind of building stances. So that's great.
And now I think it's time that we go and speak to OSL, one of the biggest over-the-counter players here in Asia. Because you were on a panel the other day and you mentioned that you don't believe an ETF is coming anytime soon.
Oh, I don't know if I said it anytime soon. I think probably, if we talk about OSL first. So OSL is a Hong Kong mainboard listed company. We're Asia's leading digital asset brokerage firm, so we facilitate very large buy and sell transactions in crypto. Talking about ETFs, I think I was definitely bullish at the start of this year. I think I went on record by saying we would see an ETF in 2018. I probably have a bit of egg on my face right now.
If you've got egg on your face, I've got a full omelette.
Okay, fair enough. That makes me feel better. It's interesting around the ETFs. We see the SEC have continually kicked the decision-making process of the ETF down the road. And I think we're probably going to see the last of these decisions made next March.
What kind of volumes are you guys doing in the month?
In terms of volumes, we run, our monthly USD is in the billions of volume.
And who's your typical client? Is it an individual, a whale with a lot of cash?
That's a good question, Ran. Our typical demographics at OSL are ultra-high net worth individuals, funds, family offices, asset managers, private banks, typical corporates, and I can gladly say that we're actually working with a number of tier 1 investment banks. Still early days, but that's what I mean by my comment earlier. Behind the scenes, the traditional financial institutions are gearing up.
Now let's cross over to our CNBC crypto trader contributor, Agadana Mary, to hear what the sentiment is on the floor at Consensus.
So we're on the floor at Consensus. Let's talk to people about the market. Hi guys, what do you feel about the market?
Yeah, the prices are not so good at the moment, but
it's a maturation of the market. It's ultimately what's happening.
I agree.
So you're not concerned?
Not at all. Zero concern.
What do you think about the market?
The market, that's a tough question.
The market has been pretty depressing recently. What's your take?
I don't really care. Markets go up, markets go down.
Where do you think the market is going?
I think we're at a time where we're seeing a stabilization rather than just hype.
What do you think of the market?
I think the market's in a bear market and I think it's going to last for the next 12 months.
Where do you think we're going?
I think the long-term viability of the technology is a really different proposition to the short-term trends in the market.
Oh, you mean the bear market?
I mean the bear market.
Yeah, I think it's a great time to continue investing, getting ready for the bull market.
I think we'll have at least one other bull run by the end of this year. It's coming.
Where do you see the market going?
I'm actually very bullish on the market in the short term. I think Q4 we're going to see a large uptick in market movement, in volume, in Bitcoin price, and the overall altcoin market's rising significantly.
Let's get a take from a crypto expert on ICOs, utility tokens, and of course security tokens. His name is Stan Miroshnik, and he's the founder and CEO of the Elements Group. Full disclosure, they are one of Crypto Trader's first sponsors. Stan, are the ICOs actually raising money today?
It's certainly a different environment. I think the big debate is whether we're near or past the capitulation stage, but it still feels like what in traditional capital markets is a very hard fundraising environment. And so I think we're still seeing a lot of companies out there issuing, but I think the investors have certainly kind of pulled back to wait and see what rises to the top, but also to work through their existing portfolio and the rapid investment pace they've done over the last year and a half. People are smarter about not just buying a token, but they have a view on what's happening in digital identity, what's happening in distributed storage, what's happening in distributed healthcare.
Is there money for good projects out there, specifically in utility tokens?
Yes, so I think the answer is yes, and it's now a much more discriminating set of investors, right? And so the fast money of last year and early 2018 is not here anymore. It's taken a significant hit. What we have is new money from thesis-driven investors. We have corporates that are now actively considering projects that are building real ecosystems. And so the investor types are shifting, but certainly interesting new money is coming into the market.
Do you think that this may be the death of the utility token?
No, absolutely not. No, I completely disagree. I think utility token is such a powerful model. I think we should abstract from utility because it could be a product, a commodity, a currency, right? And so tokens themselves, not only as a programmatic mechanism, but as an incentive mechanism, are such a powerful model that it's here to stay.
So the big wave that everyone's talking about, securities tokens. I've heard so much about it in 2018 and I look around and yet I don't see an exchange that's live today. I have seen very, very few securities tokens issued on the blockchain. Why? Where is everyone?
Sure. The excitement behind security tokens is hope for a whole investment class of institutions to come over and invest in crypto and blockchain-like products. For that to happen, you need 3 or 4 things in terms of infrastructure to be built. One is custody for institutions to join. The other is proper primary issuances of these tokens or tokenization of something. And then the third is a marketplace for these tokens to actually trade. That's what we as ShareSpots are doing. We're creating a secondary marketplace for security tokens to land and trade after they've been issued in the proper way. In addition, we're also using what we call our GLASS network, Global Liquidity and Settlement Solution, to incentivize various other settlement providers into a network to create an outsourced functionality for exchanges around the world to allow their trades to settle in a compliant way.
So what you're saying is you're actually building the base layer, which you're going to use yourself, but everybody else can also use if they so wish to use. And the more people that use it, the better the protocol is.
That's exactly right. And I think in 2018, a lot of this is being built by various players, including ourselves. And 2019, the promises we saw or wished to have in 2017 and 18 will come to fruition.
Now, the securities token that everyone's talking about, what platform is that securities token actually issued on? Is it an ERC? Is it an Ethereum-based ERC token?
Well, that's a great question because right now I think most people are building on ERC-20. However, it can be on any one of these protocols, and we will find out shortly in the next year or two which one becomes more of the standard.
The next big crypto skirmish is not between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, but this time it's between Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Cash. Their lead dev is here to explain. Now it seems we're going to talk about Bitcoin Cash bashing Bitcoin Cash. Amui, what's going on at Bitcoin Cash?
So a lot, but what is on everybody's mind right now is that there is an upgrade that is coming in November, and about a month ago there is a company that announced that they wanted to change the plan for the upgrade that is in 2 months.
So you're a Bitcoin Cash core developer. Who are the two camps?
So there is the camps with mostly N-Chain and CoinGeek, where they want to change the roadmap to do something else.
Okay, hold on. So the camp that is wanting to change the roadmap that was agreed on is Craig Wright and CoinGeek.
Yes.
Okay. The camp that doesn't want to do it, who's in that camp?
So Bitcoin ABC is in that camp, which is the main implementation of Bitcoin Cash at the moment. Roger, like Roger over Bitcoin.com, Jianhu, Haipoyang from via BTC and CoinX. Like most of the people that actually got Bitcoin Cash started are
Craig Wright on the one side,
yeah,
Wu Jihan, Roger Ver, and a whole lot of other people on the other side.
Yeah, Hypo, John Alfubel, like all the OG of Bitcoin Cash.
So what happens if they can't agree? We're going to get to November. November's very close.
But the software is not ready, it's not released. They have no public testnet yet. There are various pieces of the infrastructure that are not set up yet, so their mining pool is not running yet, for instance. It doesn't look like they're ready at all, like, to be honest. So I'm not quite sure that they're going to be able to get the traction required to make anything happen in 2 months.
Now remember, there's an AI element to this conference, a big topic around big data. Ben, the last time we met, we had Sophia around us, and she was talking to me, and we were having a whole lot of laughs. How is Sophia?
Sophia's great. She's getting smarter every day. So we're doing a lot of work aimed at enhancing her thinking ability using OpenCog AI engine and the SingularityNet platform.
How's it going at SingularityNet? And for our viewers who don't remember, just remind us what SingularityNet actually does.
SingularityNet is a blockchain-based platform for AI. So it's a decentralized AI network, sort of like an app store for AIs that lives decentralized on the blockchain, where AIs in the AI network can provide services to customers, but also provide services to each other.
So if I understand correctly, for AI to work, AI needs a lot of data, or it needs to rely on other AI who have a lot of data and been trained with a lot of data. Are you saying that using SingularityNet, effectively different AIs can plug into each other and tap into each other's resources and reward each other with tokens.
Absolutely. Yes, a blockchain-based platform can suck in more and more data and compensate people with tokens for contribution of their data to the AI. So more data, more processing power, more contributors of AI to the network, more people using the network for more different applications, and more collaboration and cross-pollination between the different AIs in the network. And I mean, this is how you get a democratic, participatory, super intelligent,
which is decentralized.
Brain.
Which is decentralized. So when we last met, people looked at you like you were this crazy hippie with these ridiculous ideas to change the world using the blockchain. How close are we to that actually being a reality?
Well, I'm still a crazy hippie.
Nothing's going to change.
Yeah, I've still got a lot of wild ideas, but now we have a large engineering team who is working on realizing the vision. So I think this year has been mostly about building, and next year, 2019, is going to be about building our community. We're going to launch the platform early next year. At latest, we'll be launching bits and pieces of it this fall. The goal is to basically take AI away from governments and big corporations, to put AI in the hands of everyone. As we move towards superintelligence, the superintelligence is reflecting the goals, needs, and values of everybody.
Now, Agada has an interesting project in the spotlight.
So we continue our journey through the Singaporean blockchain scene here with Perlin. And Perlin is one of the most talked about projects in the world, actually. Tell me about it.
So we're really addressing the next billion users. What we see as the hugest opportunity, the killer app, is income. So what do you do for the people, the billion people who are on $1 a day? Well, if you can help them earn money, and the way we do that is they plug their phones in or their laptops in to our ledger. We create a marketplace. They can rent or sell their compute. It's kind of like Airbnb for your compute on your mobile phone, and they can earn $20, $50, $100 passively at nighttime. So it really is now an exciting time. We've signed an MOU with the Indian government. We just signed today with Telkomsel, which is 180 million users in Indonesia.
Congratulations.
And we really want to bring the next billion users on stream.
Tell me a little bit about your raise. You know, we're at a difficult point in time in the market.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about your capital raise and your plans.
It is the best thing that could happen to us, honestly.
Is it?
Yeah, as a high quality project.
Listen to this, the best thing that could happen to us is the bear market.
So basically the best projects always come out of the bear markets. Ethereum came out of a bear market. Google came out of a bear market. We definitely see that. So we were the highest rated project on a big website called Crypto Briefing. We got 96%. We were inundated with 3,000 investor emails. We were 30x oversubscribed. The beauty of today is with the quieting market, we can focus on getting work done. So our technical work has been steaming ahead. We're just releasing our testnet. There's a whole bunch of work that can be done.
Interesting. So you're planning your crowd sale for when market stabilizes?
If the market cap stays around the 200 mark and then comes up a little bit more to 230, that's when we see the upward trajectory, and that's when I think there'll be a lot of confidence in quality projects. And yeah, we really see in the next 2 months, we expect to rally, and at that point I think a public sale makes a lot of sense.
So you've been very successful in your capital raise. As you mentioned before, you were 30 times oversubscribed.
We've been working on this now since December last year. This is my 4th project in the crypto space. I've been here since 2014. Right now, AWS, Google Cloud Compute is a $300 billion market. If we can get 1% of that to decentralize, we're redirecting $3 billion to $5 billion to developing economies. And that's where I think with a fixed supply of around 1 billion tokens, you can clearly see that the token value is far, far, far superior to what we're currently marketing it at. So it's really just looking at, is the sector the right sector? Is the token economics right, and does it represent real value? And we really do represent utility value.
Thank you very much.
No problems, thank you.
Pleasure.
Welcome to Singapore.
Thank you.
So that's our look at consensus and our ever-growing look at blockchain use cases. Now it's time to head back to the city and take a look at one of the biggest projects to come out of Singapore, Kyber Network. So looking for projects that are building here in Singapore, we had to come past the offices of Kyber Network, especially after the news that they just integrated into Ethermon. I want to find out how many users they've actually got and whether their network is actually being used. Let's go have a look. Hey, how are you?
Thanks for coming.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Loy, I think a trip to Singapore wouldn't be complete without coming here to see Kyber Network. You guys were one of the biggest ICOs out of Singapore, is that right?
Yeah, so I think we were one of the most popular one. Yeah, thanks to the community who always support us.
And how much did you raise?
We raised 200,000 Ether back then. So the valuation was around 52 millions, and half of it was to spend on to provide the liquidity on the platform.
Now let's talk about Kyber and what does Kyber actually do?
So what we do is we build an on-chain liquidity protocol to allow decentralized token swap to happen on basically everywhere, on website, on wallet, and even on the smart contract.
And the token swaps that you guys allow, you allow token swaps specifically on the Ethereum network. So token swaps between one ERC20 and another ERC20, is that right?
Right, exactly. But we are working on solution to bring other coins on Ethereum network as well. So in the near future, you will see Bitcoin and a few popular coins on Ethereum.
Now, the use cases for these token trades, I mean, obviously decentralized exchanges and peer-to-peer token swaps must be one kind of use case, but what are the other kind of use cases for people on this protocol?
Right, I mean, the most obvious use case is to allow the users to convert from one token to a different one, right, within their own wallet, like ARM token or MyEther wallet. This wallet already integrated with Kyber. So we are pushing the other use cases like, decentralized payment, like, we just integrated with Ethereum. So the most popular game on Ethereum, so that their users can actually pay for the monster from any ERC20 tokens. So this is actually one of the monsters that they are releasing soon. This is like the mascot of Kyber.
How much would they pay for a monster like that?
They haven't released the price yet, but it should be around like 0.5 or 0.3 Ether, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Now, as someone that's building, I mean, you guys are the real builders. There's a certain section of the market which are speculators, and they're trading on the price of ETH and Bitcoin. And there's people like you that are building. Do you look at the markets every day and worry about the price of ETH and maybe even the price of Kyber Network, or are you guys in like heads down mode?
Yeah. So I think we do like look at the price like sometimes, right? Like when our friends like send us a message, hey, Ether increases like 20% today, for example, then I have like to look at and see like what's going on, right? But really we just like focus 100% on building this stuff and to grow the ecosystem around Kyber and around like Ethereum in general.
Now you raised a big number of ETH. You raised 200,000 ETH. Now 100,000 ETH went for liquidity on the protocol, which is money that went aside, but that leaves you with another 100,000 ETH.
Right.
One of the concerns that people have, or one of the questions that people have for ICOs that raise money is whether they liquidated their ETH or whether they kept their ETH in ETH. Are you one of the tokens that kept your ETH in ETH and you're holding ETH and spending every month, or did you cash out your ETH into US dollars?
Right. So the nice thing about Ethereum and blockchain in general is that people can track, right? Like whether we have liquidated our, Ether raise yet. So we actually, convert enough so that we can have, 1 or 2 year runway, and the rest we keep in Ether, so people can actually just go to Etherscan or any like blockchain explorer to see it.
So how many ETH are you still holding of the 100,000?
So we still have around 80,000.
I'm trying to get a behind the scenes look into what happens inside the offices of people that are building. And from the outside, when people look at offices of people that are building, we don't know whether the mentality is to hold the ETH or to sell ETH. Do you sit here in your office and have meetings with your fellow founders and maybe core developers and discuss whether or not you should be liquidating the ETH and not risking the future of the runway of the business?
So I mean, we have been in this space for a long time, right? So we have seen like all the up and down. So that's why we decided like to cash out so that we can have enough like funding to run for the next couple of years, and the rest we decided like to keep in Ether because I think we are super committed in this space and we believe in the future of this space.
Does it worry you? Are you demotivated?
I mean, as I said, right, I have been in this space like for 5 years. I got a PhD in computer science, like doing research on blockchain and cryptocurrency. So I have seen like this market several times. I mean,
so the builders are building and the long-term players aren't going anywhere.
Right.
It's been a great pleasure having you on Crypto Trader. Thank
Thanks
you
a
very
lot.
much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So that was Singapore Blockchain Week. And as our ever-growing team at Crypto Trader has found, whereas sentiment may be down, building is on the rise, and Singapore is one hell of a blockchain hub. Next week, I'll be back in studio in Johannesburg. Until then, I'll be on Twitter at CryptoManRun, and you should trade well, my friends.
Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by eToro. Discover a simpler way to trade and invest in cryptocurrencies and more.